Hi guys, in this video what I'm going to talk about is how the narcissist does not have the right to invalidate your experience of hurt and abuse. And I think if you're on these websites or these forums, or if you're watching these videos, one of the most hurtful things that people can experience and that they report is that the narcissist that they were dealing with, or the sociopath, invalidated their experience. And they do this in a number of different ways. In one way they do it is the narcissist refuses to take any personal responsibility for the harms they cause. Now, occasionally they may take personal responsibility with other people, like when they're talking to their friends or family or their affair partner, they may say, well, I know I made this mistake in the relationship, right? They may do that, but they never will do it for the recipient of the bad behavior or the abuse, right? So it's a very manipulative way of dealing with it, because basically they're presenting to other people that they care and that they take some responsibility, but they will not do it for the person who was the recipient of the abuse, okay? And then, so I know that's one thing, is they refuse to take personal responsibility. Narcissists in general, you can almost always tell if you are in a relationship with a narcissist by the way the relationship ends. For instance, they may try to break up with you over a 10-year, 15-year relationship via text message. That's Narc 101. Normal people do not do that, but narcissists do. So if you had some crazy experience like that where they try to divorce you via, in the relationship via an email or something like that, that's very par for the course with these people. And they do not, again, they don't take any personal responsibility for the harms they cause. If they lie, they cheat on you, they had a pornography addiction or substance abuse addiction or whatever, they will take zero personal responsibility. In fact, what they do is they project the responsibility onto the victim or survivor. I prefer to refer to us as warriors, because you are a warrior. You are not a victim. You're a warrior, and you are going to rise above all of this BS. And I'm here to tell you that the narcissist does not have the right to invalidate your feelings, your experience of mistreatment and abuse, and you are totally entitled to your feelings and to feel sad and hurt and angry over the awful treatment that you've been subjected to. You may have found out, like, again, that they were cheating and having an affair and pretending to be monogamous, but they weren't. And, they may have subjected you to gaslighting, stonewalling, silent treatment, manipulation, psychological torture, demeaning, diminishing, being smug and superior, acting like they're better than you, making you feel like crap. They may have done this through verbal abuse. They may have been physically abusive, sometimes sexually abusive. These are all things that you may have endured, and I'm here to tell you that you do not deserve that. You have the right to have your feelings about it. Obviously, you don't want to act out inappropriately and behaviorally, but you have the right to your feelings, and don't let the narcissist tell you any different. You have the right to be sad, angry, confused, bitter, all these things. Hopefully, you're going to get past these things. You're going to heal. You're going to get through the grieving process. You're going to have friends and family support and community and therapy to heal, and then you'll let go of the resentment, because you don't want to carry the resentment, because it's like drinking poison and expecting the narcissist to die, right? So you don't want that, because you're going to be a happy, joyous, and free person, and you don't want these idiots to be able to control your future. But in the meantime, when you're in this grieving process and when you're learning about, coming to the realization that you were in a psychologically, emotionally, sometimes physically or verbally abusive relationship, you absolutely have the right to your feelings. Have them, absolutely. You're going to go through grief, sadness, loss, anger, bargaining, denial. All of these are part of the the process. You're going to grieve the loss of the relationship and what you thought it was. You're going to grieve the loss of the hologram that you were married to or in a relationship with. It's really that you're more grieving what you, the fantasy of what you thought you had rather than the reality of what it was. Because these people are just, they're figments of your imagination in a way, because they're just blanks, cardboard cutouts. They don't really have their own self. They're not real, right? You were in a fake relationship, love fraud. There's a whole website called Love Fraud that has a lot of interesting information about somebody who was married to a sociopath. So yeah, that may be true, but you still had real feelings. You felt love. Your love was real. That's not to be disputed. So, again, they do not take any responsibility for their behaviors. They do not provide any closure. Typically, they do not provide any explanation. You may have no idea what they're professing that you even did wrong in the relationship. You literally might have no clue. You may have gone to therapy with them for 6 months or a year, once a week, and still they didn't tell the therapist or you the truth of what their issues were. So, that because again, they use that, they withhold information to keep control, right? Because everything with them is about power and control and money. And they love to have power and control over other people, which is why they psychologically torture and manipulate people, right? It's just how they roll. They're not motivated by freedom or love or compassion or empathy. They're motivated by power, control, and money. And sex, can't forget that. So, and validation. So, they don't get to invalidate your experience. They will often use deflection. They will use projection. Again, they're going to project all their bad crap right onto you. They have probably been engaging in a smear campaign behind your back, maybe for the whole time you were together. Like, they've probably been talking shit to their friends and family. Well, they don't really have friends, but to their family behind your back, like maybe the whole time you were together, and they didn't even have the courage to tell you what their issue was. You have no idea. In fact, the friends and the family's probably heard all sorts of stuff that they have a problem with you, and you've never even heard, so you never got a chance to work on any of it. You might be the kind of person who would be like, hey, tell me what the issue is and I will do some work on it. I would like to make this work, and I would like to, I'm willing to take responsibility for, my part and do what I can to fix things. And you may be the type of person who would absolutely do that. I know I am, and I would have, but, so, they use that. They don't take any responsibility. They don't provide closure. They don't provide an explanation. They project all of their garbage onto you. They use deflection. They use very manipulative, passive-aggressive, obtuse communication. They do not apologize. They never apologize. And on the rare occasion that they apologize, the apology will look something like this: I'm sorry you feel that way. Or it's unfortunate the way that things turned out. That is not an apology. An apology would be like, I'm sorry that I cheated on you with a married lady, and I, with a bunch of kids, and I made a mistake, and I'm sorry I did that. I was unhappy and I just needed to exit the relationship. Or, she has more money, and, or she's a worse trauma survivor than you. I can identify that, and I know that she's going to be an easier target for me to abuse because you learned boundaries. Like, I don't know, you're never going to hear that, but their apologies are all about deflection. It's unfortunate that things turned out the way they did. Like, that is not an apology. Apology is, I'm sorry that I cheated. That was wrong of me. What can I do to make amends? So you're never going to get an honest apology from these people. And it's unfortunate, but it's true. And all of that invalidates your experience, and they do not take any responsibility. They'll say things like, they reinvent history, right? Narcissists are classic at reinventing history. If you start speaking up about the abuse that you endured, they're going to start making shit up, and they're going to start telling stories, tall tales, lies. These people are pathological liars, so they're going to craft some narrative. And if they're really cunning and high level or sociopathic, there's going to be like a grain of truth in amongst a big sea of bullshit and manure, right? So basically, they use all these strategies to, invalidate your experience of abuse. And then they get flying monkeys on their side who also invalidate your experience of abuse. And so it's really important that you find your tribe. You need to find the people who have either gone through this themselves, because they will immediately understand what you've been through. You need to find a really good therapist that specializes in narcissistic abuse, or at least understands it. Might be really helpful for you to get a narcissistic abuse coach. And get your validation and your from other people, because you're never going to get it from the narcissist. It's going to the dry well for water. It's going to the hardware store for a loaf of bread, right? So I'm so sorry that you went through this. I'm so sorry that your heart was broken, that you were betrayed, that you were lied to, cheated on, gaslighted, that they had secret hidden sex life, porn addiction. I'm so sorry that you were subjected to all of that. I'm sorry that you probably had to go out and get an STD test because you had no idea who they were sleeping with. I'm sorry if they gave you an STD. I mean, there's just all these things that I am sorry that happened to you. I'm sorry if they demeaned you and diminished you and made you feel like crap about yourself. I'm sorry if they, were so threatened by you and so cowardly that they needed to keep you beneath them. They needed to act superior and make you the inferior. You are not the inferior. In fact, you're probably a much better person than the narcissist. Most people that are in relationships with a narcissist are good people. Sometimes narcs find narcs, but that's pretty unusual. It does happen. Usually narcissists will target trauma survivors or people that are, traumatized. So, because they're easy targets. So they like to victimize people that have been through difficulties. And they love to appear to be the rescuer, the knight in shining armor. It's complete bullshit, but that's what they like to present. So I'm so sorry if you've been through this. I completely feel you. My heart feels for you, and I'm here to validate your experience. I know what you went through. I know how painful it was. I know that you probably have complex PTSD. I know that you can work through it. There's so many ways to heal. I have some videos on my site on how to heal, how to recover, how to get over this, how to empower yourself, how to have an amazing, thriving, joyful life beyond this toxic, enmeshed, codependent, abusive relationship. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.